On any given day, about 85% of Americans consume caffeine products. Caffeine can be found in more products than just your well-known coffee. It is found naturally around the world in many different plants, and it can be found in many common products. Caffeine can have positive effects on the body if it is consumed in moderation. I am a consumer of caffeinated products, and I have done a lot of research on the subject. Caffeine can be found in products that me and you use every day that we might not know about. And to just be aware that if it's consumed in moderation, then it is not harmful. Most people think that caffeine is a very harmful molecule, and in fact, it's not. It has been proven to help with a few medical conditions and help improve body performance. Caffeine is found in many plants around the world and in many common products that you might not think of. And it can benefit the body in many ways if consumed in small amounts or in moderation. It is found all around the world, and it is the most commonly used drug in the world. So, in which plants is caffeine found anyway? It is found in the seeds, leaves, or fruit of over 60 plants around the world. A few common natural examples of caffeine are in the coffee bean in Arabia, the tea leaf in China, the kola nut from West Africa, and the cocoa bean in Mexico. There are many products throughout the world that contain the caffeine extractors from these plants. The most common products that caffeine are found in is coffee, tea, soda products, chocolate, and some medications. Each of these products is produced differently and has different amounts of caffeine. A typical cup of coffee that people drink contains about 100 milligrams of caffeine, in which is about a cup or 8 ounces of coffee. The espressos have even more caffeine than a normal cup of coffee, and it is made by forcing hot water through a small space and into the coffee beans. And there's less water used than in normal coffee, so the espressos contain more caffeine content than a normal cup of coffee. So after espressos comes the brewed and instant coffees, which have a little bit lower amounts of caffeine in them. And tea also has caffeine in it. And the amount of caffeine depends on the type of leaf, the size of the leaf, the method of brewing, and the length of the brewing time. And a typical cup of coffee contains about 50 milligrams of caffeine per cup, or 8 ounces. The very common caffeine product is pop. And in a very high concentrated caffeine drink of pop, it has about 54 milligrams of caffeine for a 12-ounce can. And in chocolate, it has considerably less, but it still has caffeine in it. So for a milk chocolate bar, like a Hershey's bar, it has about 1.5 ounces for 6 milligrams of caffeine in a 1.5 ounce chocolate bar. And in dark chocolate, there's even more caffeine, so it's a little bit higher. Also, caffeine is used in medications such as Tylenol and Excedrin. Extra strength Excedrin, which with 2 tablets, contains about 130 milligrams of caffeine. And it is also found in some prescription medications. So how does caffeine affect your body? It is considered a stimulant. That means that when you feel tired, you go to the gas station and pick up a pop, or some people drink coffee, they drink it to stimulate their body. This means that the effects of coffee pick you up when you feel tired or exhausted. The caffeine is not stored in the body, but it is readily consumed, or the body absorbs it. And it takes about 15 minutes after consumption for your body to feel the effects. The peak effects take place after about an hour. The half-life of caffeine is about 6 hours. So in about 18 to 24 hours after you drink a pop, then the caffeine is out of the body or excreted. The caffeine stimulates the nervous system, so that's what it does, is stimulates the nervous system by blocking the nucleoside adenosine. And adenosine is a neurotransmitter that causes a calming effect on the body. So when the caffeine is in there, it blocks the calming effect. And instead, the adrenal gland produces more adrenaline. and makes your body, gives you that rush. The adrenaline increases the heart rate, it dilates your pupils, it tightens your muscles, and it increases in tension. And it also causes the release of the sugar glucose into the bloodstream, which is then metabolized for extra energy. Caffeine not only increases the adrenaline, but it also increases dopamine. Dopamine is the substance in your body that gives you the feel-good sensation, and it stimulates the pleasure part of your brain. So the caffeine reduces the feelings of exhaustion, and it gives you the energy and makes you feel good. Caffeine has also been known to treat patients who are overweight. It increases metabolism in the body, or your metabolic rate, and it burns a little bit extra fat every time you consume caffeine. And it takes place about 3 or 4 hours after consumption that the caffeine starts to do that. Some of the positive effects caffeine can have on the body are it's proven to help with migraines, reduce liver damage, help Parkinson's disease, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Constance E. Rule and James E. Everhart designed a survey for the National Center for Health Statistics. There are about 5,000 adult participants with known risk factors for liver injury. Rule and Everhart found that an increased consumption of coffee correlated to a decreased risk of liver injury. And that has to do with the caffeine content and not quite the coffee bean. But it was a good example of how it can help with the liver. The American Heart Association states that moderate coffee drinking does not seem to be harmful for most people. As with everything else, moderation is the key to healthy caffeine consumption. So how much is too much for us? Most experts say to limit our caffeine consumption to no more than 400 milligrams per day, which is about, I think it's 12 pops or something like that a day. So it's quite a considerable amount, but it's like 5 to 6 cups of coffee. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration classifies caffeine as a substance that is generally recognized as safe. They require that the manufacturers put on their labels that caffeine is in the product, but they don't require how much is in it. And caffeine has also been proven to help athletes perform better before like athletic events. The caffeine improves your speed and endurance only, it doesn't help increase your muscle mass or your weightlifting or anything like that. So sprinters and long distance runners can benefit from this. The International Olympic Committee has placed a ban and disqualification if an athlete exceeds 12 milligrams of caffeine in a urine test. That would mean the athlete would have to consume 4 to 7 cups of coffee to fail the urine test right before their event. Caffeine is found naturally in many places, and it's found in many products that we love, especially me. Caffeine is a stimulant and has many positive effects on the body and on the body's performance. And it has been proven to help athletes perform better and to help with various other medical conditions. Everything in life can be a dangerous substance or an addiction, but if we do it in moderation like the Lord asks us to do, then it can be a helpful thing. And it can help us go the extra mile. So if you're feeling tired or irritable, or if you have a really bad headache, you can go and grab some caffeine